City.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
All the competition that try to compete.
Everything is spot on.
Jalen Hurts is the definition of patience. He waited in Alabama, went to OU. He's in Philly now, and he waited his turn. Finally got his shot, and he made the best of it. Tell me about you guys' first impressions when it came to Jalen Hurts in the NFL, and tell me what you thought when you were first watching him last night. Let's go, John.
Yeah, so I thought he looked really good. I think I was on the record last week saying that I didn't think Jalen Hurts would make much of a difference because I just simply didn't think he was that good. But what I didn't really account for is the lack of practice time that you really get as a team for the Saints. And I'm not making excuses for them, but when you think about it, you know, when you play a game, and they were in Philly, so Monday you're not really doing anything. Tuesday, I think you have the day off. Monday, you probably have a walkthrough. You still got to travel, all of that. So you really only get like one or two practices, if that, to try to come out and figure out what Jalen Hurts is going to do. And because he's so different stylistically than Carson Wentz, it's just really hard to prepare for that within a week, right? And so they came out there and they knew he was probably going to run more than Carson Wentz. They knew he was going to do the read option. But it's easy to say that before the game starts. When he actually starts pulling it and putting it in the running back's belly and running, you know, then you got Miles Sanders running 80 yards down the field. You got Jalen Hurts hitting you for 20 here, 20 there. I think it was different. So I just think the combination of the Saints not really having enough time to prepare for him, obviously him being ready. And, you know, I was listening to Jordan Palmer, Carson Palmer's brother today on The Herd, and he was talking about how, you know, like winning has fallen Jalen Hurts, regardless of what you think about him as a quarterback. Winning has followed him everywhere he's gone, from high school to Alabama. If you think about even at Alabama, Jalen Hurts was really the first big kind of like quarterback prospect they got. Obviously, you know, now they got Tua and then Mac Jones. But before Jalen Hurts, it was just kind of throw anybody in the position. We're going to run the ball and play defense, right? And so I think Jalen Hurts really looked good. You saw that Miles Sanders said and that he gave the team a spark. And obviously, you know, he had 100 yards rushing, and that played a big part. But even if you look at some of the throws, that back shoulder throw to Alshon, I mean, that was beautiful, you know, and he put it exactly where the ball had to be. And if he didn't put it, and if he put it anywhere else, that wouldn't have been a touchdown. And we saw Carson Wentz try that play earlier in the season. I think it was against the 49ers, and they didn't complete it. So I just think that Jalen Hurts, you know, when he's a winner, I think we already kind of know the intangibles that he has. And we were just more so just trying to see if he could produce on the NFL level. We know what he can do with his legs. But I think he came out and gave that team some confidence and some poise. And, you know, I think he'll be able to do that for the rest of the season. It remains to see what he'll do in the offseason and next year. But I think simply just in the Saints game, he came out and he gave that team some confidence. I think this is the Eagles team we've been looking for all year, right? With the Dak Prescott, what happened to Dak Prescott, the Giants still being where they are. Washington's on the up and coming, but they're still probably a year away from really contending. The Eagles should have been able to run away with the division, right? With the talent that they have on defense, the signing of Darius Slay, the play of Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, and that defensive line they have up front, and then the pieces you have on offense and what we thought Carson Wentz was going to do. I think that's the first time this year where the Eagles really looked like the Philadelphia Eagles that we thought they would be. And I think that's a testament to Jalen Hurts just coming in, executing the game plan, doing what he needs to do, being the consummate professional and executing. And I think he did that. So shouts out to him. And, you know, I think he's going to be a problem for the rest of the year because, like I said, teams have, you know, have been game planning for Carson Wentz or really don't have much time to implement a game plan for Jalen Hurts. And I think he's going to be able to feast off of that.
Yeah, I think John made a lot of good points. I think Hurts looked very mobile. He completed some good passes on the run. I think he gave everybody what they would have wanted to see Jalen Hurts coming into this game. A lot of people may have not had high expectations given the way that the Eagles season has went, but I think he came in and he gave them the spark they needed. And for me personally, I feel like if the Eagles had rolled with him sooner, they probably would be in a better position. Like John said, they probably could have ran away with the NFC East at that point. And so I think going into next season, he is quarterback for next season, and they just have to figure out what they do with Wentz in that contract.
I'm a big UFC guy,
So with me being a big UFC guy, I don't know if you guys seen the clip, but GSP after the fight walked into the cage and he said, "I'm not impressed," and that's exactly how I feel when talking about Mr. Hurts. And I'm gonna why because I knew what he could do with the running game. I knew what he could do, and I think everybody was prepared for him to be able to run. And last week, I'm gonna follow Jonathan's lead. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna say that I was wrong. I'm gonna take accountability. I said that he's another version of Taysom Hill. They run in completely different style of ways, or completely different styles. Excuse me. Taysom is going to power you. He's gonna run up the middle. Jalen, he's going to be a little bit more elusive. And the thing about the read option is if you don't defend it with two defenders, you're going to be wrong, as long as the offense can run it the right way. If the offense runs it the right way, if you pick the ball carrier, if you pick the running back, the quarterback's going to keep it. If you pick the quarterback, the running back's going to keep it. And it makes you hesitant. It makes you doubt yourself. And you can see it on other runs. I think that was a big part of what led to the Miles Sanders touchdown for 82 yards. That and the offensive lineman got a great push was forced Quan Alexander to go out of his way in order to get it. Excuse me. So with all that being said, with Jalen Hurts, man, he had some decent passes. I wasn't too impressed with him passing. He ran the ball, and for me, the most impressive thing was his decisiveness. It was the fact that when it wasn't there, he either ran out and he threw it away, or he ran the ball. And there were situations where they were playing a lot of man coverage. I don't think these are things, however, that you will see continue. So I don't mean to come in and, in the Christmas spirit, be all bah humbug about it, but when I really think about it, I say, all right, they're going to start playing more zone coverage. They're going to have people watching him. I do not think that Jalen Hurts will be able to continue to implement, the plan that he had against the Saints and have sustained success. I think that he is going to have to develop as a passer. I'm not saying that he can't, because I think he is a better Taysom Hill. That's what I was talking about him as before the game. I think he throws better. I think that as a runner, he's smarter. I think he's more decisive. So I do think he's better. I do think he is capable of these things. But from what I've seen against the New Orleans Saints, I'm not sitting here and saying that, wow, man, the Philly's back. I don't exactly feel that way. I think that there's many teams that know how to defend the read option. I think that you saw it in the second half of that Saints game. So I need to see more before I'm ready to really say that Jalen Hurts should be the starter for the Philadelphia Eagles for the foreseeable future. But he did have a decent first outing.
Yeah, and I think when we're going off of Jalen Hurts being the starter, it's not necessarily what he did against the Saints, but it's what Carson Wentz has done for the last 11, 12 games, right? And so in that case, moving forward, I do think Jalen Hurts should be the quarterback, because when you're looking at Carson Wentz, right, and you talked about the decisiveness, right? When it wasn't there, what did he do? He took off. He didn't sit there and pat the ball, waiting for somebody to come open. He didn't go into deer in headlights mode like we've seen with Carson Wentz, where he just starts ducking in the pocket, just starts running around, throwing across his body and doing crazy stuff. He was real decisive. Okay, it's not here, one read. He probably wasn't even making 2 to 3 reads. He probably made one read, maybe 1.5. If it wasn't there, I'm taking off, right?
Yeah.
And so, like you said, like it's not as a staff, as SOS, we're not saying that what Jalen Hurts didn't do wasn't impressive. We're just saying that it's hard as a team, right? Because if the quarterback makes the right read on the read option, how do you defend that, right? You as a defender, you're running full speed. You probably have half a second to make this decision. He puts the ball in the running back's belly. What are you going to do as a defender? You're going to attack the running back. Then he pulls it and he's running for 25 yards, right? And so now you start to think. So now the second time, now you're playing the read option, you run towards him and now you hesitate. Now you sit there because you're trying to see where the ball goes. Yeah. Now Miles Sanders is running 82 yards down the field because you didn't attack the football. So it's just hard to try to adjust to that within a week, right? You know what I'm saying? When you're not even practicing every week with COVID, I'm sure practice is a little bit lax. So I think Jalen Hurts did a great job with what he had to work with. Obviously, he came in and beat the number 1 defense in the NFL. The Saints had won 9 or 10 straight, so I'm not trying to take anything away from him. And like I said, I think he'll continue to have that success this year just because teams don't have really much time to prepare for them. It's 10, 11 games. 12, 13 games in the season. They are who they are, right? And you got this kind of new wrinkle that you're throwing at people that they haven't seen all along. But I do think moving forward, Jalen Hurts should be the quarterback, because at this point, I think kickers and quarterbacks probably have the most fragile mindsets in the NFL, right? And we've already seen Carson Wentz, the way he's playing, just basically off the fact that, Nick Foles, them drafting Jalen Hurts and just probably him not feeling the comfort and the support of the organization. So how do you bring in Jalen Hurts for the last 4 games of the season and then come back and be like, oh yeah, Carson, you're our guy. We just had to see what we had in Jalen. You can't. So I think Jalen has to be the quarterback moving forward because you've already expressed a level of concern and a lack of confidence in Carson Wentz, and I don't think you can go back to that.
This is my rebuttal to that part. As far as the read option and why I don't think that he will be asked, if that is the plan. Now, if he expands the game, all this goes out the window. But if it's basically the read option, I do not think that the Philadelphia Eagles have the offensive line to be similar to the Baltimore Ravens, where the Baltimore Ravens, you knew what was coming and they were going to bully you and they were going to beat you. It didn't matter if you knew it. Hey, I'm running here. I'm better than you. I'm going to beat you. That was a lot of things with Baltimore. But you look at Philadelphia, the reason I feel like it'll be easier, not only are they not as effective as Baltimore, once they know that's coming, if you defend it with one person, the read option is extremely difficult, almost impossible to stop. But you can defend it with 2 where you assign one person, hey, every time, you can tell the defense in, every time you're going to crash and you're going to tell your inside linebacker, you play a 3-4, maybe your outside linebacker in a 4-3, you're gonna come scrape the edge. So now you have one man for the running back, you have one man for the quarterback. And I think that teams will see that because it's not like it's a new concept. And with them not having an offensive line to just say, hey, I'm going to be better than you, I don't think that the Philadelphia Eagles can even have success over the next 3 games to too much degree. And that's why I think that it's going to be hard, and it may end up being a conversation in the upcoming season, because we may be saying, all right, Jalen beat the Saints, but afterwards it kind of started to taper off. Now we're going to have at least a competition between Wentz and Hurts.
And see,
I think they have something.
No, go ahead, me.
I think they have something to build upon, just from this game here and the way he came in against the Packers. I think they have something to build upon, and they have a whole offseason to put together game plans for how to make it work with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, Darren, I disagree with you because if you look at the Ravens last year, right, they went 14-2, and I think at one point they won 12 games in a row, and they looked just simply unstoppable. You cannot stop that run game, right? And this year they still have a top 5 to 10 run game, but it's not as dominant as it was last season because you have time to prepare for it. You have a whole offseason. You know what Lamar is going to do, right? I think with Jalen Hurts, this is a new wrinkle, and basically at the end of the season, you're just putting it in and saying, hey, stop this. Like, figure out how to stop this in the middle of the week, and it just doesn't work like that. So I think he'll continue to be able to have sex. I think the difference between him, the Ravens and the Eagles, you talk about the O-line, but let's talk about the quarterback, right? Like Lamar Jackson is a once-in-a-generation athlete at the quarterback position. Jalen Hurts isn't, right? So we can't say, oh, he won't have the success that Lamar Jackson has. Like, of course he won't, because he's not Lamar Jackson, right? Like the only other Lamar Jackson comparison we've ever seen is Michael Vick. But I do think the last 3 games of the season, right? Because it's not like they're running the read option every single play. You don't know what's going to happen. I was listening to Malcolm Jenkins today on Speak for Yourself, and he was literally saying that. Like, it creates a different challenge for the defense because all 11 people have to be accountable. Like, if you're playing Tom Brady, you don't have to worry about Tom Brady running, right? That's an extra defender you can put in coverage. You can put him somewhere. Every single play, you have to have somebody keying on Jalen Hurts, and that opens up opportunities for people on the other side of the field. So with 3 games left in the season, I don't just think that's something you can master and stop, especially when you have a play caller of Doug Peterson's pedigree. Now, I know that people have been down on him the last couple of years since Frank Reich has left, but he's still a descendant of Andy Reid, and he's still a great offensive mind. And so I think they will continue to have success for the rest of the year. Next season, that remains to be seen because people have a lot of tape and they'll be able to game plan and attack it from a different way. But in the middle of the week, when you're trying to figure out how to stop a quarterback that you have more college film on than NFL film on, I don't see how you're just going to be able to stop that.
I think it was some good points made on both sides with everybody, but I have one point I wanted to make before we cut this one off. And I think this is the one we kind of been missing out with me when it comes to the Cowboy comparisons with the Philadelphia Eagles, because the Cowboys have been just straight up bad this year. But I think there's a conversation, an argument that was ended when it came to Jalen Hurts. And I need the editing team to really clip this one. But the argument that is over is the Carson Wentz versus Dak Prescott argument. And I'll tell you why real quick. Hear me out, Darren. Hear me out. Carson Wentz, and this argument I've been preaching for a long time, Carson Wentz is not a leader when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. We've seen it when it came to the Super Bowl run. Nick Foles got it. When it came to the year after that, when they were bad the whole year, Nick Foles brought them to to the playoffs. We've seen it year after year. We saw it this year with the Saints game. Jalen Hurts came in, and it was a complete spark. When it comes down to Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott might not be able to throw the ball as good as Carson Wentz. He might not be able to do a lot of things that Carson Wentz can do. But at the end of the day, he has the things that you cannot teach, and that's being a leader. And that's the things that you can't physically teach somebody, and that's what Dak Prescott has. And Dak Prescott has shown time and time again that he's the sole leader of the Dallas Cowboys. And Carson Wentz just isn't. You can have all the talent in the world. You can do whatever you want. You can throw the ball 200 yards. But if you aren't the leader of your team, it doesn't matter. And Jalen Hurts threw for 150 yards last night and ran for 100.
Leave this man alone, bro. Stop kicking him while he's down.
No. I'm gonna point it out. I'm gonna point it out.
167. 167.
Oh man, let Carson Wentz breathe, y'all.
Carson Wentz is nowhere close to Dak Prescott, and he doesn't deserve his money. And Dak Prescott deserves it way more than Carson Wentz because he is a leader of his football team. So man, I will say this, and I will say this today, and the argument is over. Dak Prescott is firmly a better quarterback than Carson Wentz, and there's no argument for it because he's the leader of his team. Y'all tell us what y'all think of Jalen Hurts' first game against the New Orleans Saints in the comments. Like it up for us, and tell us what you think again about Dak Prescott versus Carson Wentz, because I feel strongly about this one. And hit the subscribe button.
We thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. Be sure to check out more shows here on this YouTube page, such as SOS Discussions or My Point Exactly. And most of all,
keep watching Spot On Sports!
It's a new wave of sports that's sweeping the nation. We're not just accurate, it's spot on.